Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to talk to you about Record Store Day, show you the records I was able to pick up miraculously, and I'll explain that in a minute. There is a record that I just think would have been a much better choice, Beatles related, as opposed to those 3-inch singles. And I understand those 3-inch singles and that little turntable was very popular. I still think there's something out there that could have made the masses even happier, and I will share that with you. There are some records in here, they're recent pickups. One record that I'm going to show you today is probably in the history of my channel, the most suggested record from my viewers. They tell me, you need this in your collection. You need to find this record. Okay, I can finally say, I have this record. You don't have to suggest it anymore. I love that you all look out for me and you have given me great suggestions. This is no different, that out of all the records, this is the most suggested, and I finally have it. So let's go ahead and get started with talking about Record Store Day. First off, I didn't get up in the middle of the night and go anywhere, but thankfully I did get to go to a record store that day. I was able to go to Hard Copies in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Look at this adorable Record Store Day shirt. Hard Copies has some really cool, not only do they have cool band t-shirts, like walls and walls of t-shirts, now they have some personal Hard Copy shirts. And Hard Copies used to be in my hometown, but he wasn't getting enough traffic in the mall that we used to have. It's now closed. He went on to greener pastures in Bowling Green. It was our loss, his gain, but I still miss him being here in my hometown. I had the best Record Store Day memories at his store. I still go there every year and see what's left, but I don't get to get there when it opens. It opened at 10 this time, so you don't even have to get up in the, you can kind of sleep in even if you want to. He had a large line though, from the pictures I saw. I didn't get there till 1 o'clock, so I was thinking I wasn't going to get anything that was on my list at all, which was fine. I know I didn't get up in time. I didn't do the work, so I understand that. That's just kind of the risk you take on Record Store Day. I was actually shocked to find a couple of my favorite choices were still there. And when I got there, they told me they had been mobbed and that their Record Store Day selection, basically there was nothing left. And there wasn't a ton. He had really sold a lot of records. Doug, the owner, is a really good friend of mine. And like I said, I've enjoyed his friendship and I love going to his store. It's kind of my tradition. So here's what I was able to get. For one, this is one that it was pretty limited, so I wasn't sure it would be there, but I didn't think it was going to be like the most popular. So I thought, well, there's a chance this one would be here. This one is the Amboy Dukes, Center to the Journey. No, let me repeat that. All right, Journey to the Center of the Mind. A wonderful psychedelic record. A very young Ted Nugent was a big primary member of this band playing guitar. It was incredible. It starts out, it has a little bit of a bluesy tinge, but goes right into psychedelia, and it's not too weird. It's downright enjoyable. Great vocals, great keyboards, great guitar playing on here. And this is from the Sundazed music label. So when I saw it was from Sundazed, I knew it was probably going to be a very good pressing, and it is. It sounds very good. Always had trouble finding a clean copy of this that was in decent condition, so I was thrilled that this was there. And they called it hookah glass vinyl. Oh, it came with some rolling papers, a little gimmicky thing. I don't know, you can see those right there. Sorry about the glare. But it also came on hookah glass, which is, to me, just light blue vinyl. Really pretty. So I am absolutely delighted to have that one for the collection. And it sounds good. It's a great record. Finally have some Amboy Dukes in my record collection. And this next one was the shocker. I couldn't believe it was still there. looked around, and they told me, oh, there's really nothing left. You're probably not going to find what you're looking for. But I'm like, oh, yes, it was still there. And there were still 2 copies left of David Bowie Waiting in the Sky. First off, let's just say the obvious, or at least this is my opinion. This is a lame album cover. This could be better. This was songs from Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. And look at that lame gray cover, plain gray back. It's David Bowie. You could do anything and make this such a cool looking release. Yeah, he looks cool there. He's got his little cigarette and posed in an interesting way. But yeah, this could have been better. In my opinion, the album cover could have been better. Having said that, the record is superb. I love that the RCA has so much respect for David Bowie that they put Bowie there where RCA usually is. I think that's just such a respectable and nice touch. This is a black vinyl. They could have done a color vinyl, but that's okay. The sound quality on this is absolutely amazing. The drums sound so realistic. His vocals sound incredible. The sound stage is great. The sax sounds wonderful. Now there's 4 tracks on here that were left off of the final version of Ziggy Stardust, and a couple of them, it's like, yeah, they were throwaways. I wouldn't have enjoyed. A couple of them were pretty good though. Tracks that I'd never heard before. And of course, this is just such a great release. And again, sounds so incredible. Anytime I'm in the mood for David Bowie and Ziggy Stardust, but I want Ziggy Stardust with a twist, something unusual, this will be my go-to album now. So that one was absolutely fantastic. So those were the 2 records that I was able to pick up for Record Store Day. Now, you all know I got those jazz records from the Elemental Music label a couple of episodes ago. I reviewed all of them, and you can watch that if you want to. My favorite being the Cannonball Adderley, Poppin' in Paris. But I also love the Yusef Lateef. I really love those Elemental Music label records. So overall, I have a nice little haul of Record Store Day records. But let's talk a minute again, because I brought the Beatles, that little 3-inch turntable and those singles up. People went nuts over those. Those Beatles collectors had to have them, and I will agree. They were adorable. I understand the hype. I really do. And I think on the secondary market now, flippers came out for them as well, and they're selling for a lot of money online. That always happens. But there is another release that if they had not done that and went a little bit more practical way, I think they would have had even more enthusiasts. And this would have probably been competitive with a Taylor Swift release. Maybe not as big as Taylor Swift, but this is a highly sought after record from the Beatles, and I don't know that it will ever get a reissue, but it would fit perfectly for Record Store Day in large quantities. For Record Store Day, you could print several thousand copies of this, and every one of them would be swiped up. And I'm talking about Let It Be Naked by the Beatles. That Let It Be, the stripped down version. When everybody I know that doesn't have this record is clamoring for it, and instead we get 3-inch singles, don't get me wrong, again, I like the turntable, I like the singles, and as soon as this video's over, I'm going to Harry's music room, and I'm going to watch him talk about that. I think it's cool. But wouldn't this have been a little bit of a better choice? Just asking. You can leave below in your comments. Turntable versus Let It Be Naked, which one would you have rather seen as a Record Store Day release? Just saying. Yeah, I have it, so I can't really complain. But I just know too many of my viewers and friends who still want to have that record and don't want to pay $200 for it, because I think that's $150, $200 is probably about the going rate for it. So Record Store Day, though, wow, what an incredible weekend. I loved seeing what everybody was buying. It's always interesting what someone's looking for, something I've never heard of, and then all of a sudden I read about it and it's like, oh, yeah, that's a very cool release. I love how creative it is. looking forward to November to find out what's going on for the Black Friday Record Store Day now. So let me show you some other records that I picked up, including one that is the most requested, the one you suggested the most that I needed to have in my collection. But let's start off with Dark Side of the Moon. A lot of you have picked up this release. I couldn't help myself. It's just a really special, and you know, when it comes to my records, this is right up there as one of my favorites. Odyssey and Oracle by the Zombies is my favorite, but this one is probably number 2, sometimes number 3. This is a cool version of it. I hope I can get it out of its little slip case. You know, this 50th anniversary version just is something a little extra. So I wanted to show it on my channel. I'm going to tell you what I think of the sound quality as well, because I have listened to it a couple of times now. I love this little slip cover. It makes it kind of special. Whatever you would call that. I don't know if it's called a slip case, but this is the, you know, nothing new here. Dark Side of the Moon, the very iconic album cover. It does come with one poster. So if you wanted to hang something up in your music room, this would be a decent choice. It's about what you would expect for Dark Side of the Moon. There's the poster. What's really cool about this release is the way they did the vinyl. It's not a picture disc, it's real vinyl. It's 2 LPs, and you can only play the first side, and then you have to go to the second LP to play the second side. So separated on 2 different discs with absolutely beautiful, oh, that's one. I want to show you the first one first, so I've got that second one out there. Let me pull this first one. So beautiful. I think that's so pretty. Even my husband looked at it and it's like, you know, that's really cool, you know. And then we put it on to turntable and listened to it. I've listened to it a couple times now. He listened to it with me once. Here's the LP number 2. This is the really cool side. I mean, it's just really pretty. Sound quality wise, it's very good. If you do not have a copy of Dark Side of the Moon, for one, you have to have one that is very, very quiet. So I would suggest a brand new version, or one that you see that's used that's in absolutely clean condition. You do not want a lot of clicks and pops. It's very distracting. This one, if you don't have a copy, is a great way to start. It's a great one. Sounds pretty good. But the 30th anniversary version, in my opinion, sounds better. And I even think the mobile fidelity version is a little better than this one too. That's just my personal preference, and you all can argue if you think I'm wrong on that. But I do think this is a beautiful sounding record. You really can't go wrong with Dark Side of the Moon as long as you get a super clean copy. This 50th anniversary version, I don't believe is analog, but it's nice. It plays very nicely, but I still... 30th anniversary, I don't know if it will ever be topped unless someone can go back to the master tapes and start all over again. I don't know if you'll ever top the 30th anniversary version. For me, it is amazing. Now, I say that a lot of you have a first UK pressing or an early UK pressing. That's probably the best way to go, but they're usually really expensive. And again, you have to find a very clean copy. So that Dark Side of the Moon release is extremely cool, and I will pull it out from time to time because I don't want to wear my 30th anniversary version out. So it makes a nice secondary copy. And now let me show you the record that has been the most suggested on my channel. I haven't done this in a while, so let me do a drum roll, okay? It is Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. So many of you have said you got to get this record into your collection. And you know, I have seen it, and I don't pick it up and go through it every single time I see it. It's a common record. It's easy to find, it's cheap, it's very affordable. But finding, again, we've talked about clean copies. This one needs to be a clean copy as well. And it's just something I had never found extremely clean. I find it looking pretty trashed. But a friend of mine sent this my way, and it sounds great. And of course, when I start listening to it, I immediately think of The Exorcist. It is the Exorcist theme Tubular Bells. And, you know, I just saw that movie within the last year or two, and I'm kind of glad I waited. I don't think it would have served me well to have seen it as a child or as a teenager. And now the effects, which were extremely cool in the day, you know, are no longer as believable. You know, we see a lot better effects nowadays with the new technology. It is still creepy to its core because the storyline of The Exorcist is so creepy. So it's a beautiful record, though. You know, if you get past that Exorcist and you hear the glockenspiel and the organ and just everything going on in this record, it's beautiful. The soundstage is fantastic. It is a beautiful record that you can sit back and listen to every detail of, or you can just put it on in the background for whatever you're doing. It serves both purposes. So I get why so many people have recommended this record to me, and I finally have it. You don't have to tell me to pick it up anymore. It is in my collection. So thank you all so much for all of the recommendations that you give me. It always means so much to hear from you. Let me know what your record store day finds were in your experience. Let me know if you think that Beatles Let It Be Naked would have been maybe a better choice for record store day over those the little 3-inch turntable. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell. But most of all, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.